Hello and welcome to this Digital Functional Skills onboarding session. My name is Charmaine Phelps and I am a Provider Development Officer here at NCFE. It's my job to support you with the planning, delivery and preparation for assessments for your functional skills qualifications. The contents of this session are an introduction to digital functional skills. Then we will look at the subject content, the resources that are available, and then finally looking at the assessment structure. So we'll start off with an introduction to digital functional skills. Digital functional skills qualifications are based on the subject content in this Department for Education document that came out in October 2021. This document itself is based on the national standards for essential digital skills. This is why you'll find that there's an awful lot of similarity between the digital functional skills qualifications and the essential digital skills qualifications. The qualification aims are on this slide. Now, for both entry level 3 and level 1, the qualification is to enable learners to initiate and participate in digital and online activities safely in the workplace and in other real-life contexts. Other aims are to provide a foundation for progression into employment or further education and develop skills for everyday life. There are no specific prior skills or knowledge that a learner must have for these qualifications. However, learners may find it helpful if they've achieved the NCFE Entry Level 3 digital functional skills before attempting Level 1. Learners who achieve at Level 1 could progress on to further education, such as Level 2 certificates in digital skills for work. Some entry-level learners with little or no prior experience of using digital devices or the internet may need support to handle and use digital devices, such as turning on a device and using a mouse or keyboard before progressing onto the knowledge and skills set out in the subject content. Centres are responsible for ensuring that all learners are capable of achieving the learning outcomes and complying with the relevant literacy, numeracy and health and safety requirements. Learners registered on these qualifications should not undertake another qualification at the same level or with the same or similar title, as duplication of learning may affect funding eligibility. So we have the key details on this slide. The qualifications are awarded at Entry 3 and Level 1. The assessments have a pass or fail grading. At Entry 3, the assessment is an hour and a half, and then at Level 1, the assessment is an hour and 45 minutes. There are 55 guided learning hours, which is to be in line with maths and English functional skills. And assessment is online only. There are no paper-based versions of the assessment for these qualifications. And the subject content is split over 5 sections, and I will cover the subject content in more detail shortly. When it comes to progression routes, learners who've completed Entry 3 can then go on to do Level 1 digital functional skills. They might want to do Level 1 essential digital skills, and both of these are assessed through online timed terminal assessments at the end. The NCFE Level 1 certificate in digital skills, however, is assessed through a portfolio of work. Similarly, learners who've completed their Level 1 may go on to do the NCFE Level 2 certificate in digital skills for work, and this again is assessed through a portfolio. For digital functional skills, there is no Level 2. So it is important that you're aware of alternative qualifications at higher levels. So we've got the qualification pages listed and linked on this slide, and by all means you can request the slides. I'll give you my contact details at the end. And as I've mentioned, everything is based on this, which is hyperlinked as well, the Digital Functional Skills Qualifications subject content from the DFE. I will take you to the website now just to show you where to find what you can find on the different qualification pages. On the slide, the qualifications are hyperlinked, but I'll show you a shortcut for finding everything related to digital functional skills. So from the NCFE website, if we go to qualifications, and then if I hit the delivery support tab, and then that brings me out and I've got digital functional skills. So if I click there, then I have quick links to the qualification pages themselves. I also have a nice quick link to the sample assessments. There's some tutor support information. We've got information on the teaching and learning resources and skills assessment tools. And then we've got any upcoming training and events. So that's whether it's coming up in the future or whether there's anything coming up on demand. We also have useful links to the side. So this is an important link, the pre-release files and guidance. So all devices that your learners sit their assessments on must have the pre-release files and guidance downloaded onto. We also have the functional skills key dates. Now this key dates information tells you if there are going to be any delays to the usual 6 working day turnaround for results. So it's important that you do take a look at those dates and see when it is that new papers, whenever there's a new paper, it has to go through awarding, and that delays the results. So the qualification pages, we'll go to the entry 3 as an example. And each qualification page is laid out in exactly the same way. So you've got the registration and certification fee there, guided learning hours, there's some useful information related to the qualification. We also have in the support materials, this is where you'll find the qualification specification. And I'll download that and we'll come back to that when we come to the subject content section. We've also got some fact sheet there. There's some tutor guidance. This support handbook is generic to all qualifications. And then in the assessment materials tab, we've got the pre-release materials for the entry level 3, because we're on the entry level 3 page, sample assessment. There's also some external assessment guidance. So this is where you'll see the pass boundaries, so you can access and see roughly what your learners need to achieve. And we've also got the teaching materials, and I will go on to the teaching materials later, but this is where you will find all of our teaching materials from the qualification page. So key information. The assessments are on demand and online. Before you can even register your learners, you must be registered for online assessments, and this link will take you to where you would register for online assessments. And again, I've shown you where you need to download the pre-release materials and guidance. Results come back in 6 working days, unless, as I've mentioned, due to awarding, the results will be delayed, but that will be published on our updates page. Remote invigilation is available. There's an additional charge for remote invigilation because it means that we at NCFE are actually invigilating your learner, but it does make the qualifications more accessible. You also get free automated feedback. So because these assessments are on demand, they remain live for a considerable period of time. And that means that you will never get to see your learners' actual scripts. So that automated feedback is really quite important, so that if your learners don't pass first time, you know exactly what their strengths and challenges are, so that you can support them before they resit, or alternatively, if they have passed but they're moving on to the next level, then you can use that to support them as they move through their studies. Now, this just shows you our onboarding process. So once you gain approval with NCFE to deliver the qualifications, then we will get in touch and we'll contact you and offer you 3 consultation calls through your first sort of year of delivery, or a shorter period of time if your delivery is over a shorter period of time. And we'll contact you to offer you your induction consultation, and then we will contact you twice more. And if you find it helpful to have a consultation call at those points, then we will arrange that with you, and we can make sure that you're fully prepared for your assessments. We also have an ongoing program of CPD. So once per term, there will be a digital CPD session that you'll be very welcome to come along to. Now we'll turn to the subject content. So the subject content at entry 3 and level 1 is split over these 5 core themes. So to achieve these qualifications, learners must successfully demonstrate their achievement of all learning outcomes within each theme. And I'll go to the qualifications specification now, just to go through that detail. So as an example, and bear in mind that this is only the entry 3 qualification specification, but if you go to the qualification page for level 1, then obviously you can download the qualification specification for level 1 and review the subject content there. So obviously the qualification specification has information about how the qualification is assessed. And then in section 2, we've got the subject content and assessment guidance. And this gives you all of the learning outcomes that your learners will be assessed on. And this is really helpful. We've got this column here, which tells you whether or not your learners will be assessed on these particular learning outcomes in the knowledge section. So that is the first part of the assessment that is assessed through multiple choice and short answer questions. So whether it's assessed through the knowledge section or through the skills section. So for example, this particular learning outcome, to be able to apply system settings, including for bright display, etc. All of this will be assessed through the skills section. So that's in the tasks section, where learners may be asked to complete a task to do something from here, and similarly further down, all of this is through skills. So that's really, really helpful. Please do refer to the qualification specification when it comes to the subject content, and there is also some delivery guidance in there, so adding an extra level of detail. And I would certainly recommend that you go to the qualification specification yourself for both the level 1 and the entry 3 to make sure that you're fully familiar with the subject content. Now, when it comes to the resource requirements that you will need, centres must ensure learners have access to suitable resources to enable them to cover all the appropriate learning outcomes. Digital devices such as a desktop or laptop computers must include audio and video functionality, and a mobile or smart device is also useful through the delivery of the qualification. Internet access, including access to social media platforms, email access and shopping or booking websites, learners will need. Cloud storage is also necessary, and learners need to have, during the delivery, And in the qualification specification, we do not specify which word processing or presentation or spreadsheet software that your learners need. However, it's important to note that for the assessment, in the technical specification for our online platform, it is necessary that the word processing software, presentation software, and spreadsheet software are the Microsoft products. So you will need desktop versions of Microsoft Office in order for your learners to complete the assessments. Through delivery, you can use whichever your preferred products are. However, it's important to note that it's during the assessment they will need the Microsoft products. And also learners need to be able to access their system settings, including display, sound, time, language, and accessibility. Now we'll come to the resources that are available for this qualification. We have an excellent offer. So there's a two-strand offer when it comes to our digital functional skills qualification. So here we've got the actual qualification itself at the top. And so our two-strand offer are these. We have our digital functional skills resources. So these are the resources that I showed you that are in the teaching materials tab of the website that would usually be chargeable. And for the prices, you can go direct to the website and see what the prices are, and they are available to purchase direct from the website. And then we also have our skills assessment platform. And it is possible for this two-strand offer, and it does actually, for most centres, it does make more sense to have this as a package. There's more information on that package through this link. So it's at the digital functional skills page on our website, because the package option consists of the registration for the qualification, access to our initial assessment and diagnostic tools, Skills Builder, and full access to all teaching and learning resources included on the platform, and the ones that you would usually need to download from the website and pay for from the website. And instead of paying separately for each of these, so £23 currently in 24-25 is what the registration price is for digital functional skills. Instead of just paying £23 for each registration and then paying for your resources separately, for a package price of £26, then you can get the registration, the resources, and the skills assessment platform. Information will be on this link here on the slide. So our resources that are available from the NCFE website include a scheme of work, presentations, videos and worksheets. The videos are embedded throughout the schemes of work and PowerPoint presentations. We'll look at these with the skills assessment part of the presentation. There are also supplementary worksheets where appropriate to the task, some of which will be interactive PDFs. These will cover skills such as sending an email or submitting a form. There are currently 2 schemes of work, one for each level. The sessions are designed to be 2 hours in length. And we've also worked to combine the entry-level and level 1 schemes into one for those who teach in a workshop setting. So in that teaching materials tab, you will find it's a free like mapping document, so that if you've got entry 3 and level 1 learners in the same class, then you can access the document, which will support you with delivering the lessons, as a whole, even though you've got mixed ability learners. So I'll just show you where to find that on the website. So from either level, entry 3 or level 1, in the teaching materials tab, it's here, digital functional skills, entry level 3, level 1 mapping document, and it does exactly as described. It's a tutor guide mapping entry level 3 and level 1 sessions for a mixed level workshop delivery. It's free to download from the website, but it does refer to our resources. We have session presentations. So this is what the PowerPoint sessions look like. There's full content for you to deliver, there's examples, and there are embedded videos. So this is excellent if you are doing face-to-face delivery. It is possible also to deliver this remotely. Worksheets are provided where appropriate to the task. Some of the worksheets are in an interactive PDF format, so they can provide feedback instantly. And these are designed to simulate skills, as I've mentioned, such as sending an email or submitting a form that would be otherwise tricky to carry out in certain learning environments. The skills assessment platform has a skills builder element, which includes initial assessment and diagnostic assessment. There are also some foundation level resources which cover the 8 tasks outlined in the Essential Digital Skills Framework videos. Each learner will get their individual skills plan, which draws down the appropriate resources and practice questions according to learners' needs. There are workbooks within Skills Builder, which also include interactive PDFs and videos that are mapped to the subject content for the National Digital Skills Qualifications. So, as an example, so the PDF workbooks have been created for each of the subject content areas within each theme on the platform. And they include a progress track at the end with some interactive PDFs, which will allow the learner to practice skills such as complying with data validation. So for here, they've got to practice completing and submitting a form, and obviously everything has to be correct when they've, when it comes to data entry. The videos cover a range of skills and are between 1 to 4 minutes in length. There are some videos which are embedded throughout the scheme of work, and they're available as MP4 files which can be downloaded along with the presentation document. So this is an example of one from entry 3, which is it's only a short minute and 41 seconds in length on recognizing and minimizing the effects of physical stress. So once you've delivered the content, it's certainly ready to be thinking about the assessments. So I'll go through the assessment structure now. So the assessment will be taken via our online assessment platform, Surpass. It's important that all devices being used to sit assessments meet the specification, and that continual checks are carried out on these devices to check that they continue to meet them. For example, there is a requirement to have a certain amount of memory available on the device. Now, as time goes on and devices are used differently, then the memory capacity that's available is obviously going to change. So it is important that you do keep referring back to the technical specification to ensure that the devices your learners are going to sit the assessments on do meet the specification. For more information, you can go to the online assessment page. It's from this online assessment page that you will see the registration form where you need to register for online assessments. And also on this guide, you will find user guides for the Surpass system. So there's an administration user guide, there's an invigilation user guide, and it is important that the invigilators have that invigilation user guide so that should anything happen during the assessment, they're able to pause the assessment, for example. The assessment consists of just the one component, so it is designed by NCFE. You schedule when it's going to take place. We mark the assessment. I say we, my team do not get involved in any live assessment material. I am not allowed to see any live assessment material. So NCFE do mark your assessments, and then the results are released, as I've said, in 6 working days. The first section uses multiple choice questions and short answer questions to assess your learners' knowledge, while section 2 assesses your learners' skills by the tasks that are within that section. So we have the weightings here on the screen for entry level 3. As you can see, at entry 3, the highest weighting is for that first skills area, using devices and handling information, 30 to 37.5%, which is assessed fairly evenly through the knowledge section and the skills section, while other of the topic areas, for example, transacting and creating and editing, are not really assessed through the knowledge section either at all, or perhaps very little, while they're mainly assessed through the skills section. You've got the total number of marks on there as well, and for each section. And here we have the same for level 1, the weightings. And what you'll notice is that there's using devices and handling information is no longer the highest weighted. At level 1, it's the creating and editing section, which is not assessed at all in the knowledge section. It is assessed completely through that skills section. And obviously you've got the weightings for all of the content areas and how they're assessed in the skills or knowledge sections. Each learner is required to undertake each section of the external assessment. The external assessments are marked by NCFE and assess learners' knowledge, understanding and skills of this qualifications. Centres must not assess or internally quality assure external assessments or provide any feedback to the learner about their performance in the external assessment until you get your results. Although there is no way that you can provide any feedback, since these are invigilated assessments and the teacher must not be the invigilator. The external assessment consists solely of an on-demand invigilated assessment scheduled by you at a time and date that suits your learners. Completed assessments can only be accessed from the Surpass online system. They cannot be downloaded to a local device. The external assessment for entry 3 is administered under specified assessment conditions and will last for an hour and a half. The 90 minutes are split between section 1 and section 2 with a total of 40 marks. Both section 1 and section 2 must be completed under invigilated conditions and must not include any supervised time. The total assessment time will not exceed an hour and a half, unless, of course, you have applied for reasonable adjustments. If you've applied for reasonable adjustments, you would inform us of those reasonable adjustments in the portal, and then using the Invigilate user guide, you would add that additional time into Surpass. It is possible, and built into the system, there is a 15-minute break. And this 15-minute break is a supervised break for your learners. They can go back to the assessment before that 15 minutes is up. So they don't need to take the full 15 minutes, but certainly they can take that 15 minutes. The assessment for section 1 is available on demand and is on screen through Surpass. There's a maximum of 12 marks. There are 9 questions and it takes just 20 minutes. So here's an example. We've got some multiple choice questions, and then here we've got a short answer question where learners would need to fill in the information into the box, learners do typically find the short answer questions more tricky than the multiple choice questions. So it's worth being aware of that and building that into your delivery. So section 2 comes directly after section 1, after a short supervised break. And again, it must be completed on screen. Now, when section 2 takes place in the Surpass Secure client, you will find that the learner's devices will open up. So during section 1 of the assessment, everything on the computer will be shut down. The learners will have access to nothing else other than the assessment platform. But in section 2, because they may have to use the internet, they may have to download a document or save a document, then the whole computer opens up. So it's really important that you have made sure that there is nothing on your learners' devices that they can access, such as their class notes, which will be against the regulations. What a lot of centres do is they'll set up exam accounts to make sure that the devices are completely clean. So the section 2 of entry 3 is an hour and 10 minutes, and there's a maximum of 28 marks. And at level 1, similar to entry 3, the first section is 20 minutes, where we've got the multiple choice and short answer questions. And then section 2 is slightly longer. It's an hour and 25 minutes. And again, this is under invigilated conditions, and your learners can have a 15-minute supervised break in between the sections. In section 1, there are 9 questions with a maximum of 15 marks, and the section will be 20 minutes long. Section 2 has a maximum of 35 marks and is an hour and 25 minutes. And although I have got some small images from the sample assessments here, what I would recommend that you do is go through the sample assessments yourself as a teacher. Make sure that you have tried those and explored those fully. The structure within section 1 is designed to provide learners with a level of demand that gradually increases as the learner progresses. So it starts off with those 1-mark multiple choice questions and then progresses to short answer questions worth between 1 and 3 marks. NCFE determined that there is not a requirement for extended response type questions at either level, as this would increase the level of demand and difficulty above and beyond what's required at each level. The level of demand for the external assessments is aligned with other entry level 3 and level 1 qualifications, such as the now withdrawn functional skills in ICT, but the very much alive functional skills, maths and English, and also essential digital skills. So we'll take a little bit of a look through now of the sample assessment. So the multiple choice questions provide learners with a basic question in terms of having no writing demand, relatively low reading demand, and a simple structure. There's a single mark multiple choice question at the beginning of the section, acts as a settling in question when new elements are introduced. The question requires a learner to recall and express knowledge in clear, brief terms by selecting the correct answer from a choice of 4. There's only one correct answer, and then there's 3 distractors. So these questions are categorized as knowledge-based questions. So as an example here, which one of these pieces of information is unsafe to share on social media? Your favourite meal, your last holiday destination, your home address, your favourite hobbies. So yeah, while perhaps we may not want to see your favourite meal, or perhaps we do, it's your home address that would be unsafe to share on social media, obviously. And it shows you there. So you've got the mark scheme. So it's just one possible mark available and only one possible answer. When it comes to short answer questions, these questions require a learner to show knowledge and understanding in, again, clear but relatively brief terms. So for this particular one, they need to give 3 correct answers. Short answer questions test knowledge through direct recall. So here we've got to recall the benefits of file compression listed within the content specification. And from the mark scheme, we would allow each 1 mark for each of the following answers. There's a maximum of 3 marks, and any incorrect responses would be ignored. So multiple files can be combined into one compressed file. Reduction in overall file size reduces data transfer times, and any other suitable response or paraphrasing that implies a correct answer would also be accepted. These short answer questions, they are marked by human beings to allow for learners incorrect spelling or alternative responses or paraphrasing of responses. In addition, the learner is unable to finish section 1 without answering all questions, ensuring that none are accidentally missed. So here we've got a task-based question. And for this task, it requires learners to demonstrate their skills across numerous subject content areas within skills area 1. This task requires learners to demonstrate their knowledge and understanding in a structured way, allowing NCFE to assess the learner's ability to generate responses covering more breadth and depth of the content. The stages that learners are required to move through to successfully negotiate this task lends itself to a multi-mark task-based item type, with marks being awarded for each step successfully completed. The task is structured so the learner can clearly see what they must do for their marks and what evidence must be submitted. So for this one, for example, when evidence is required, it is clearly stated in a bold text box, and this bold text box method is used throughout the paper and across levels. The next task starts on a new page, which ensures the upload buttons are obvious to the learner and not missed when scrolling to the next task. And please note that learners do need to upload their files as a zip file. At entry 3, zip folders are not actually part of the subject content, so you will need to cover this in assessment preparation. There's also guidance on the website in the pre-release files and guidance page. The mark scheme is designed to support the examiner to easily find the evidence submitted by learners for each task and then apply marks to the correct location within the on-screen platform. This particular question requires multiple marks being awarded, therefore a points-based mark scheme is used. The item is semi-constrained, with each step guiding the learner to the specific requirements of the tasks, with medium level of demand and difficulty presented to the learner. Due to the semi-constrained requirements of this question type and the marking approach, a points-based mark scheme increases marker reliability. And this task is a simulation of a real-life scenario that learners could face in both their work and personal life. The stages that learners are required to move through replicate the process required to complete this task in real life. It's been designed to be as authentic as possible while still sitting wholly in our on-screen platform to reduce the need for screenshots or observations. So the mark scheme is designed to support the examiner to easily apply marks to the correct location within the on-screen platform. So there's no specific point on the create contact that they need to pop their cursor. Anywhere within this area will be sufficient. This particular question requires multiple marks being awarded, so again, a points-based mark scheme is used. The question is semi-constrained, with each step guiding the learner to the specific requirements of the task, with similarly medium level of demand and difficulty presented to the learner. And this final task looks at using an email, and again, this comes from the sample papers. There's a medium level of demand, and it's a simulation of a real-life scenario. A similar task is used at both entry level 3 and level 1 in the sample assessments to meet similar subject content requirements at each level. To increase the level of demand between the two levels, level 1 requires an attachment and the CC field to be used. In addition, the learner is unable to copy and paste the details into the fields, and they must complete them without errors. So when they're putting it to to John Smith, they have to write the email address correctly. They can't just copy and paste it. The task is, again, structured so that learners can clearly see what they must do for their marks. They can highlight each section of the task as they complete it to ensure they don't miss anything. And in addition, the email structure is based on well-known email software and will be familiar to learners. So we've covered everything that I said we would cover, a general overview and information, the content and the resources and assessment structure. If you do have any questions following this presentation, please come along to one of our drop-in sessions. All of our training, so that includes our drop-in sessions and our termly CPD session. You'll find any live events down at the bottom of our delivery support page. We also have on-demand events on our YouTube playlist, and we also have a Teach, Share, Transform best practice network. So this is where you can come along and share your best practice ideas and learn from the best practice of other training providers. So everything is on the Digital Functional Skills Delivery Support page. So you'll find that from the Qualifications drop down, Delivery Support, and then go to Digital Functional Skills. Thank you so much for your time in listening to this recording. If you do need any further support, you've got my contact details here. I'll be happy to send you the slides if you would like them. My colleague Patricia, both of us support functional skills, maths, English and digital. You've got an account manager who you can speak to, particularly if you're interested in the skills assessment tools and interested in that package. It'll be your account manager who will be able to set that up for you. And then we have customer support who are excellent at supporting you with any of your portal or Surpass queries. Thanks so much for your time, and whatever you're doing for the rest of today, I hope you enjoy yourself. Thank you.